Market update here on the 25th. So, I'm not going to say I'm always correct, but if you followed the videos back here in this area where I said that wave 3 is likely finished, then you probably did pretty well because you could have shorted and you could have got it out of your long positions and raise some cash and be ready to buy this dip because it's working out pretty much perfectly. I've had this 2-day demand zone highlighted for a while, and everything about this dip has been perfect. So this took 3 days, this took 4 days, we come down here in 2 days, and then we bounce 2% here. It did sell off after that, but this is like a picture perfect ABC move right into the demand zone that I talked about probably 3 weeks ago. So we nailed the 1.61 fib, get a huge bounce, get this pullback here into the end of the day. I think that's probably a B wave. So this is likely an A wave, B wave. And so we didn't actually come into the demand zone here. There's a chance that this does break below the low tomorrow, depending on what happens. But I would say it's more than likely a B wave. Unless it's like a 333 or something like that. But I would say it's more than likely a B wave, so I still expect this to go higher. The 1.61 fib of this A wave is right at the gap fill right here. See the gap fill right there. So I would expect an ABC move up to 550. This is more than likely overall a wave right here. So let's go ahead and that bigger. Potentially this is the overall B wave. It could just be A of B. So it could go like this. Actually, it probably will do something like this. Who knows how it'll play out? Could be a zigzag, could be a regular flat. We don't know. But there's a gap up here as well. So you could be looking at something like that. But I think 550 is a good spot to target on the next move higher. It could end up being an expanded flat. It could be like this. Whoops. So it could be like that. But I don't think that this is going to continue down through this 2-day demand zone ending at 531. So I would say the dip is pretty much done. Probably for I would say for at least another week or two. And then maybe it'll continue on. I originally said that this was going to go into the election, but it doesn't have to. If it ends up being quicker than that, which is going pretty quick, as we've gone from 565 all the way down to 537 in like 8 days. So if it goes quicker, then it can be done faster than that. It doesn't have to last all the way to the election. So let's look at the 1.61 fib of 537 now. So that's not quite to this weekly demand zone that I'm kind of aiming for the overall correction to be over with. So we'll see how it goes, but this right here, this move right here is pretty much perfect. I didn't play it perfectly either. I don't always just go 100% by my own calls, but I did take enough profit on this where it's not hurting me too bad on this dip. Of course, I'm traveling right now, so I'm not shorting very much either. I'm just kind of trying to play around the dip with shares and that kind of stuff. But overall, again, if you haven't watched the videos in the past, this is what I think this is. We're in a fourth wave that could come all the way down here to 500 to 510. And then I think you're going to get this. So I still think there's a lot more upside on SPY, but we're just in that middle, or we're in that fourth wave right now. Let's look at the option flow. I haven't looked at it either, and you'll see a lot of puts here, but those are bought at 545. So let's refresh this and just see what's going on. Maybe I'll look at that here in a bit. No. Okay. Let's see what's going on with SPY. So there is nothing bought at the lows, but let's just look at this week. I think yesterday, though, you had, or maybe it was a few days ago, you had like a $9 million call. So it almost seems like they are setting it up for this dip to be really quick, maybe going into August, September maybe, and then running through October, November. So we'll have to watch it day by day, see how it goes. Yesterday, or today, I mean, mostly puts above the ask, but yeah, above the ask. I don't see any increasing IV. Actually, I see decreasing IV, which is a good sign if you're bullish. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So puts are being bought, but overall chart is setting up for a bounce. This might get oversold by the time it gets down here. And I would say there's a very, very slim chance that this is the end of the fourth wave. So that's all I'm going to say on SPY. That was kind of long. Let's go over QQQ. Okay, QQQ. I haven't been following that much, but it did break below this demand zone that I had set up here, which makes more sense because it was already below the 50. And you have the 200 all the way down here to 425. This is probably going to go to 425 at some point, and test that overall 200 DMA. So if you watched the videos before, I talked about QQQ is done, in my opinion. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like that. The only way it's not done is if it extends. So an extension just means this would extend right here, which is possible too because SPY is probably going to go higher. But I've said also that this is probably going to end up being the A wave, and then we're probably going to get something into 2025 expanded flat like that to new highs. Just because SPY is going to new highs, so how can SPY go to new highs without QQQ going to new highs? So either going to be an extension or you're going to get a B wave higher. As far as this move goes, it's just a 5-wave move. And I know there's a lot of markings on here. Let me get rid of these. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's in a 5th wave. So again, I think this finished too. At 455, I think it finished, unless it extends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This looks pretty corrective right here, but I would imagine if SPY is going to do this, QQQ will as well. So I think we're probably going to get a bounce into earnings. There's a gap at 480. This is not going to reach it looks like, but yeah, I think that this move into the end of the day is a bear trap, most likely. So I'm expecting another big move higher overall on QQQ and SPY. And then I'll keep you updated after that. We'll see how far it bounces. This took 14 days, so I would expect this bounce to last to like probably OPEX. So maybe let's go to the daily. So I would expect this bounce to last probably like that, and then probably get something down after that. And you can see here, this is so far below on the 4-hour, on the daily. We're at the very bottom of the line too. There's no point in being bearish here. I mean, there is, like, technically, if you're looking at the moving averages, it is bearish. But I think based on the waves and where we're at on the standard deviations, like I just said, I think an ABC move, big moves coming here, higher over the next couple of days. So I'm not really that worried about it continuing to sell off. I do see a demand zone right here. It looks like it touched it right here on the daily. That's another good support area. Look at that. Nailed it. There's a gap there. There was no gap there, but it just nailed that and bounced. So I think the A wave is done on this as well. Looking for that B wave, probably up into this area at least. Probably 480, 484. So QQQ and SPY, I'm actually bullish on from the chart, but moving averages are going to be bearish, obviously. AMD is just horrible. I am still holding my position. I'm down a bunch. Not my best trade, but I'm not too worried about it. It looks like 5 waves are about to end. It could keep on going down. That would suck, but yeah, I own 200 shares. But I'm looking for a bounce back to like 160, 170 at some point. If it continues to go down, then I might cut it. There is a big demand zone here at 123. So, not what I normally do, but I caught a falling knife on this, and it goes to show me every time I break my own rules, it ends up working out pretty badly. But luckily I sold this also at 188. So I sold this at 188, very top, based on this move I've been talking about for a while. And then I rebought at around this area right here. And my average is like 156, I think. So I'm down to quite a bit of money, but at least I sold up here. And I could average down if I wanted to. So AMD potentially coming down here to 123. At this point too, I'm just hedging because it looks to me like this has gone too far. It looks to me like this is not going to be a first wave. It looks like it's going to keep on going. So they do have earnings in 5 days. We'll see how that plays out. But again, if it's a 1.61 fib move from here, you're looking at the low 100s, and I talked about that in previous videos. It's either the low 100s or just this. So this will continue on. This will be a wave 1. Something like that. Or it's just going to go straight to 123, in my opinion. So we'll see which one we get. I prefer, obviously, the one straight down. And, yeah, we'll see what happens with AMD. So now we have to go into NVIDIA. In NVIDIA, it broke through. I actually had a demand zone down here. I was thinking this looked like ABC, and then we get the extension down here. Big move down here. I had calls in this area, and I got stopped out on those. It came down here. There's no way of knowing if this is going to keep on going or not, but I did know the 1.61 fib was right at 105, and look where it hit. Basically right at the 1.61 fib. And then big bounce. This is actually where you want to buy. So I lost like $300 or $400 on my calls. Even though it wasn't going into demand, I got stopped out at 110. Came down here. I missed this. But if you're going to buy, this is the place to buy on the retracement after that big move, because this is probably finished. To really verify that it's finished, it needs to go up through 118. So We'll see if it can break 118 to verify this is not a 5-wave move. Technically, it could be a 5-wave move still if it does this. But based on that bounce, that was a furious impulse bounce right there. This is probably either A, B, C like that, or, you know, something like that. So NVIDIA looks good to me for bullishness. So yeah, same thing as QQQ and SPY. Lulu, I sold a put on this today. It's too oversold. It's basically based on that, historically oversold here. It also filled one of the last gaps I see in the chart at 248. And if I'm wrong, then I'll just own some shares at 234, which it's below a 20 PE. So not a big deal. I think that it should be ready to bounce here soon. Tesla, got to go over that obviously. Okay, so let's zoom in here. So it went all the way up here to 226, but it looks pretty corrective to me. I would actually lean down still. I would either lean down or this is a truncated move. So it either, so here you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was supposed to be the 5th wave. It didn't happen. And now we're bouncing. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to 212. Those are the two possibilities I see. If it's already bouncing, this looks pretty corrective. And that would mean that this is probably going to end up doing the ABC move I talked about. So A, B, C. Like that. And then 5 waves higher. So based on what I see, that's what I think is going to happen. So bounce probably back to 240 and then down to 198. And that would be the B wave going back out here on the 4-hour time frame. If it comes down here to 198, obviously invalidates this being a 5-wave move. There's a chance that this was 5 waves, like that. But again, this right here was ABC, so it makes sense that this could be ABC as well, like that. So Tesla, I'm pretty bullish on, and it held up really nice today, up 2%. So we'll see if it comes down here and fills the gap at 212, or if it had a truncated 5th wave. Tesla option flow. Do have a lot of puts at 217 and 221. Let's go to the flow from day though. So only this one at 8 o'clock today. So yeah, that's Tesla. I mean, questions about Amazon. I haven't charted it still, but the same thing with all the rest of the tech stocks. It looks to me like it's done. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless it extends. On the daily, you have the 200 down here. So it might be going down to 167. It looks to me like this is probably finished, though. I would expect probably to come back here and test this moving average here, and then maybe something like this. So you have the 50, you have the 20 up here. Maybe it comes up here and tests one of those. Usually a B wave retraces to the 50% retracement. That's at 188. So I can see a retracement to 188, and then probably more downside since this is a 5-wave move. So again, look how overextended this is though. Amazon, I would say, is probably a buy. I haven't looked at demand zones, but yeah, looks good. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe for more updates. I'll probably go over more later, but that is it for now. Good luck trading. We should be getting a bounce over the next couple of weeks, in my opinion. So get ready for a bounce, get ready to play that, and get ready to make some money. All right, have a good night.